Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to Solo English with a new video today. First of all, how are you with your preparation? Dear teachers, students, how are you with your schools, with your students? So I hope you are doing well. Well, today I'm going to present a new video, a new lesson maybe. I'm going to talk about how and why do we shift from method to method, especially Ppp method to task-based learning, as you see, from Ppp to task-based learning. So we are going to talk about these two methods, why we replace it, why do we change it, and why do we move to task-based learning and communicative approach, communicative language teaching, and so on. So as you see on the blackboard, let's explain first. We have traditional methods, communicative approach methods, innovative methods. So we have here 9 methods. Maybe some students are confused about methods. How many methods, what do we prepare, and which method are we going to focus on? So traditional methods have grammar translation method, direct method, audio-lingual method. These are the main methods which are traditional. Then in communicative approach, we have CLT, TPR, competency-based approach. And within competency-based approach, we have task-based learning too. And then innovative methods, we are silent way, CLL, communicative language learning, and Suggestopedia. So these are the 9 main methods that we must focus on, and we should know their principles, how they are implemented in the classroom. But the question is, I was wondering why some students asked me why we move from method to method. Why do we change it? Or is there a unique method? As Nunan says, there is no perfect method. Maybe all methods have their role in language teaching. So now, today we are going to focus on Ppp Tbl, or why do we shift from Ppp as traditional method to task-based learning as communicative approach, communicative language teaching. So we are going to see what are the defects of Ppp methods. Are we still using it? Or what are the limitations? So certainly Ppp method has some limitations, has some problems, and we are going to see these problems and what makes educators think of communicative language teaching, task-based learning, competency-based approach, and so on and so on. So now we are going to talk about Ppp method and its limitations and task-based learning. So why we choose task-based learning as an alternative to the traditional method, Ppp method. So as you see, presentation, practice, production, these are the 3 stages we use it to implement in our classes in 1980s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We were applying this. Teacher comes to the classroom with a text and, of course, or grammatical sub-skills, grammatical structure, or linguistic items, vocabulary items, and he is going to present first language, either vocabulary or grammatical structure, for maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes for presentation, practice, and production. Then we go to read the text in order to make the text easy for students to understand the difficult vocabulary items or grammatical structure that we are going to present. So this first stage, presentation, so we choose for concerning the vocabulary, we take, for example, difficult words, new words. It can be 5, 6 words or 4 words, it depends on the text, and then we present it. How do we present it? Conversation, situation, situation, conversation, or picture, or any other way. Then teacher gives examples, he checks understanding, he checks comprehension. This is the presentation. Then we go to practice. In practice, students practice the new item, vocabulary or grammatical structures, and teacher gives more cues to practice. 7, 8 cues, for example, for students to practice with repetition, with response, and so on. And then teacher uses drills, substitution drills. He changes the word by another word, and the students are practicing, but not all students are participating and they are responding. Of course, just the best students. Then we pass to production. In production, so students use their own context to use the presented vocabulary item or the presented structure. And the 3 stages are used within, as I said, within 15, 20 minutes. And then we pass to the text, or reading text, or listening, or... Okay, now, what are the problems that we have with Ppp method? And the Ppp method, some teachers are still using it. It is useful for presentation of vocabulary, presentation of grammar, presentation of functions, for example. It is useful. So the problems we have with Ppp method and why some advocates think of changing it, of replacing it by task-based learning, is that first, students learn language in limited way. It's just 3-4 words per session or one grammatical structure. So the language is not acquired in this way. This is the problem that we have. Then, second one, the focus is on accuracy more than fluency. Teacher corrects the sentences and he insists, he controls students to produce correct sentences. No mistakes are allowed. Then the students overuse the item or the grammatical structure presented. They use it in exercises, when they speak, when they write, okay? It is overuse the target structure. Then the last problem is that some students may not produce the item. They may not speak at all. They may just listen, maybe they understand, but they don't produce language, for example, in writing or when they speak. So these are the limitations of Ppp method and why we think of changing it and why we replace it by task-based learning. Now we are going to see task-based learning and the stages that we are using in this method. Now we move to task-based learning, TBL, or task-based instruction. It's the same. So, of course, task-based learning consists of 5 stages. So we are going to see first pre-task, a task, planning, number 3, planning, number 4, report, number 5, language focus or analysis. If we look at these stages, we can say that Ppp method is turned upside down. You know, here language or language focus or analysis, when we focus on the grammatical structures or vocabulary items, this is Ppp method. It starts with presentation. So here, language focus, it means presentation of vocabulary words or grammatical structures or functions. It is at the end. It's not like TBL, task-based learning, starts with pre-task, and we are going to see what we have in pre-task. So, pre-task, teacher introduces the topic, introduces the theme. Maybe if there is text, or maybe he writes the title on the blackboard or on the whiteboard, and student starts to discuss and starts to use their language. That with what we call exposure to language, to new language, and of course the previous knowledge these students have. They are going to exploit the language freely. So brainstorming ideas here, we are going to discuss, of course, the topic, any topic. Teacher may highlight some words and expressions maybe students, they don't know an expression, how to use it. They have the idea in their mind, but they don't know how to express it. The teacher helps them. And if the task is based on reading, students read part of the text quickly to see what is the topic and what is the idea of they are going to discuss. Okay, this is the first stage or pre-task. Now we pass to the task, which is the backbone of our lesson. Task, it is done in groups, of course. We are going to divide the classroom into either in groups or in pairs to work together. This is what we call cooperative learning and collaboration. Here they use the language freely. They discuss, of course, freely without focusing just on the target structure or target vocabulary item. Teacher walks around between groups to see what they are doing, how they are working, and if they have difficulties, he is going to help them. Okay, and teacher prepares groups to make a plan. So he prepares them for the next stage. It is making a plan, and we are going to see what do we do in this plan. So planning, it is number 3. So now we have planning, report, the language focus. So in planning, the groups, we are going to divide the groups into 5 or 6, depending on the classroom. So the groups prepare a report about what they do in their task, or what they did in their task. And they are making a report either orally or in writing. So a group of 4 or 5, they are taking notes, and they are putting down notes, and they are going to organize these notes. Teacher helps them to organize their report, what to say and how to say it in front of their students, in front of their friends, or in front of public speaking. So what to say and how to say it about what they did in their task. What are the difficulties they encounter? What are the topic they understood, the ideas they understood in their task. This is planning. After planning, we have reports. So one of the groups is going to rehearse what they did. They are going to talk about what they did in their task. And report, this is among each group, one is going to talk about what they did in their task. Other students are listening, and they may add information. Maybe when we have 5, 6 groups, each group is going to give his ideas and his points. The language focus, so here we are going to focus on style, on language analysis, how the text contains the expressions, new words, new vocabulary words, maybe functions, so how they are used in the text. If it is a new structure or new vocabulary item, of course the teacher is going to explain it by examples and present it, and he puts the important lesson on the blackboard, and students copy the lesson. So students focus on the new words, expressions, functions, how they are used. As we see, the language focus is just the concern of language as it is. It can be grammar, it can be vocabulary, or functions. How it is built, how the text is built. Language analysis, and here teacher explains and gives examples, and the students copy the new structures, the new vocabulary items, and the new lessons. So these are the 5 stages of task-based learning, and why we come with this method as an alternative to Ppp method. It doesn't mean that we don't use Ppp method. It's useful for vocabulary and grammatical structure. So in order to make students learn more freely, to use more language, and to use exposure in their language acquisition to develop their fluency, we use task-based learning. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. This is the the end of this video today, and if there are questions, of course, I'm going to explain more. Thank you very much again for listening. Welcome to Solo English, and we are going to continue next time.